Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Savita. Today we are going to discuss about the module Formulation of Business Plan under the paper Tourism and Hospitality Entrepreneurship and Legal Environment. After completing this module, you will be able to understand the procedure of formulation of a business plan, to have the knowledge about the advantages of creating a business plan, describe the nature and scope of business plan, clear understanding of the features of a successful business plan, to know about the procedure to write a business plan, knowledge about the various elements of a business plan, and understand how to implement a business plan by the entrepreneur. A business plan is defined as a formal statement of plans of an organization. It explains business goals of the enterprise and all the efforts are directed towards the achievement of those goals. This tries to address the weaknesses, opportunities, strengths, and threats of starting a new venture or a new business. The business plan varies from one organization to another organization depending on various factors, that is, complexities in organizational structure, variants of goods and services, and demand for the various goods. But the basic element of a business plan remains the same in all the contexts. The business plan is often the clubbing of all the functional plans such as international business, finance, marketing, manufacturing, and human resources, planning, operational activities, etc. This helps the entrepreneur in both short-term and long-term decision-making process. According to Tariq Sadiq, if you are failing to plan, you are planning to fail. This definition explains the significance of a plan to succeed in business. David Gumpert has defined a business plan as it is a document that convincingly demonstrates that your business can sell enough of its products or services to make a satisfactory profit and to attractive to potential backers. According to Gumpert, a business plan is essentially a selling document that convinces the key investors that the venture has a real potential to be successful. Various advantages of creating a business plan are as follows. Very helpful in getting the opinion of trusted and experienced external advisors on initial plans. This is also beneficial to identify the weaknesses, missed opportunities, and unsupportable assumptions, which further help in improving the prospects, reducing the probabilities of rejections and chances of operational failure in the business. Enhances the ability of individuals to take into consideration all the aspects of business. Creating an important document for creditors and investors, as they would always refer to business plan before investing. While an investor looks into the following 5 C's of an entrepreneurial venture while evaluating the business plan. First one, capacity. Deals whether the financial budget is realistic and sufficient. Capital states to the amount of money invested in the business by the entrepreneur. Collateral explains to the security provided by the entrepreneurs. Conditions highlights whether the environment is conducive for the proposed business. Character deals to the trustworthiness of the entrepreneur in the business. Benefits in obtaining statutory permissions approval for starting a new business. Benefit in formulating a proposed budget, as it involves proper financial forecasting. It is also helpful in matching the results with projections and inducing corrective measures on time. Therefore, it is necessary for an entrepreneur to create a realistic business plan which can be implemented. The business plan should ideally be prepared by the entrepreneur, keeping in mind the pros and cons of the environment. However, he or she may take the suggestions from the advisors such as lawyers, accountants, marketing consultants, and engineers to prepare an accurate plan for the business. Now we will discuss scope and nature of business plan. A business plan which is prepared with due care and attention helps in winning the trust of suppliers and various other parties and securing favorable credit terms. This deals with the mission, vision, future plans of the organization, and goods and services proposed by it. This is beneficial for the investors and the money lenders to take interest in the enterprise, as both of them use the business plan to make an understanding about the new venture and fix it with the current market opportunities of the country. Mark Steven, who is an advisor to small business, aptly expressed the significance of the business plan in dealing with investors and creditors. According to him, if you are inclined to view the business plan as just another piece of useless paperwork, it's time for an attitude change. When you are starting out, investors will justifiably want to know a lot about you and your qualification for running a business, and will want to see a step-by-step plan for how you intend to make it success. But the business plan is not a legal document for raising the required capital for the business. When there is a time to solicit investment, a memorandum is also required. A businessman makes the use of the business plan to create interest of investors in the organization and then follow up with the formal offering of memorandum to investors who are willing to invest in the enterprise so that they invest in the business. Moreover, it is beneficial in communicating the entrepreneur's mission and vision to current and prospective employees of the organization. Therefore, a business plan which is used by both the insiders and outsiders as shown in the following figures. Characteristics of a successful business plan, giving a clear idea of what the founders and the enterprise expect to accomplish in the future to make it successful, consisting of an executive summary, a table of contents, and chapters in the right sequence, describing the significance of goods and services to be given to consumers, showing the hard evidence of the marketability of goods and services, explaining the right appearance and the right length, not too long and too short, not too fancy and too plain, justifying and explaining the level of product development in the business, giving the details of the associated costs and manufacturing process, describing the means that is selected to sell goods and services, showing the partners as a team of experienced managers with complementary business skills and talent, advising the superiority of the team members or group, showing clearly how the entrepreneur's goods are better than that of competitors' goods, consisting of the financial projections which are realistic, giving a well-organized oral presentation about the product and its features. Writing a plan. Preparing a business plan is the foremost step of the planning process of an organization. An organization is required to do a lot of research to develop an effective business plan and to make it successful. The following diagram depicts the essential elements of an effective business plan. Various elements of an effective business plan are explained as under Index Table of Contents. The organization of the table of contents or index may differ from one organization to another, which will depend upon the scale and nature of business operations in the country. A businessman basically creates the table of content index after adding all the characteristics of the business plan. The index table or content consists of main headings and subheadings with related page numbers of the detail. Front title page. The front or title page of a business plan includes the business name, the date of its startup, and the name, address, and contact number of the businessman or the concerned person of the organization. The front or the cover page can be very simple or complex depending upon the choice of the businessman. Executive summary. The entrepreneur's executive summary is a summary written in brief of the entire plan, which will highlight all the significant aspects of the plan in a proper, appealing, and concise manner. This basically consists of the basic information, that is, name of the enterprise and its location, nature of business, types of product or services, and financial needs of the business. These entrepreneurs' executive summary may also consist of significant points or news about the enterprise, which may attract investors, suppliers, and other target audience to invest in the business. This may also be considered as the most critical section from readers' point of view, because people normally go through this to take a decision whether to read other sections of the summary or not. The summary text should not exceed 3 to 4 pages and should be short and comprehensible and must be understandable. Description of the business in detail. The description of the business shows the details of the business opportunity and the strategy to take that opportunity to be successful. It consists of a very detailed information of backgrounds of the organization, country of origin, weaknesses and strength of the employees, stakeholders, goods, and the portfolio of the business. The description of the organization contains the historical background and current status of the organization, as well as details about goods and services of the business. Various components of a strategic management, that is, vision of the organization, mission, profile, and external environmental objectives, etc., are required to be considered before creating a plan for the business. A detailed study of these components is beneficial in designing effective plans for the future of the organization. The process of creating these components in a proper and systematic manner is termed as strategic intent. Concept of strategic intent. It is a process which helps the management team to take a decision about the priorities, make decisions, and achieve the goals of the organization, so that these priorities, decisions, and goals are clubbed or integrated to form the mission and vision statements of the organization. Following figure shows the process of strategic intent in an organization. Major significance of mission and vision statement is drawn in the following points. It helps the superiors to delegate authority to subordinates and ensure whether the targets are fulfilled or not. emphasizes a common purpose throughout the organization. This statement helps in providing the direction of organizational goal to managers and employees so that they can perform their duties properly. In the next section, we will discuss about the product description. This includes the information about the goods and services offered by the organization. It is beneficial for the customers to understand whether the goods or services is as per their expectations and desire or not. Various significant points to be included in product description are as under. Production process. It contains description about the kind of goods manufactured by the organization. It will also include information related to inputs used to get the desired output of that particular product. Unique selling propositions. This will be defined as the competitive advantage or uniqueness of a good or a service that would help in attracting customers and stimulate them to buy that product. Quality assurance. This will be considered as the process of inspecting the quality of the goods through various quality management system standards such as ISI mark, ISO 9000, 2000, EGMARK and Hallmark. It will ensure that the product is of good quality. Product specification. It will consist of the characteristic of the goods related to a particular industry. That is, when a good is related to a manufacturing industry, it should be contain the ISO trademark printed on it. Moreover, the product specification includes description about patents, copyrights and trademarks owned by the organization. Operations plan. The operations plan contains the actions that are required to be taken to make the effective and efficient use of resources and processes of the business. This includes information about some factors just like personnel of the organization. Personnel means the human capital of an enterprise. The failure or success of an organization depends on the effectiveness or efficiency of its human resources or manpower planning. Thus, the organization strives to adopt effective and efficient human resource management system to increase the growth and development of employees. Capacity planning. Capacity planning program determines the maximum amount of work that an organization can do in an allotted period of time. Normally, organizations forecast and the capacity utilization over the years and make targets to achieve the final capacity utilization level to increase the productivity. For example, if an enterprise's current capacity is 40% within 1 year, and it targets to attain 60% of the capacity, then it requires performing proper capacity planning and making judicious use of resources within the organization. Thus, operations planning give a map for resources and personal planning in a scheduled way. Material and equipment description. A businessman requires giving clear information of the equipment and materials needed to carry on the business operations. Materials and equipments consist of plant, machinery, and raw material that act as inputs to produce the output of a particular commodity. It seems to be the most expensive and costly purchases of an organization. A businessman makes an advance payment to get customized some parts of the machinery as per his or her needs. He or she should focus to achieve cost minimization and timely delivery of the materials while purchasing the materials and equipments for the business. A businessman should have good bargaining skills to get customized machinery at optimal cost and can get the various discounts. Financial plan. The financial plan is considered as a significant component of a business plan. Financial plan gives financial description and startup timeline for the business. A businessman requires raising a sufficient amount of capital for starting a new business. Enterprises need capital to purchase fixed assets, that is land and machines, and to meet day-to-day expenses of the business. In case of small organizations, money and funds can be raised through own savings, but in case of large organizations, money and funds have to be raised by public, commercial banks, and financial enterprises. Thus, a businessman is needed to do financial forecasting to raise the funds. The forecasts are beneficial in evaluating the amount of funds and debt financing needed to carry on the business. The money and financial portion of a business plan must be evaluated deeply by all the partners and investors in the business. Therefore, accuracy of the financial projections attracts investors, lenders, and serves as a guide and advice to business decisions to be taken in the future. Organizational and management plan. Organizational and management plan gives information, background, skills, abilities, and competences of a businessman, leader, or the management team or group of personnel. This will consist of information regarding the form of ownership of the organization and its structure. For instance, if an organization is running in partnership, then
The detail of its partner, their names and designations must be given in the management and organizational plan in detail. In addition, this plan also contains the description about roles, responsibilities, and authorities of individual in the organization. This thing can easily be explained with the help of organizational chart. The plan related to the management also includes human resource policy and its strategies, that is recruitment and selection policy, performance appraisal, promotion and increments, retention policy incentives, or motivation of employees, wage and salary administrations, etc. Therefore, management and ownership creates the most essential part without which the process of planning in an organization cannot be implemented in a proper manner.
Contingency plan. A plan known as contingency plan involves all the forecasted risks linked with the business and methods to mitigate those risks. The most significant feature of a businessman is that they are risk takers and tries to take the risks. If they ignore the risk, it may lead to a negative impact on the operations of the business or its profitability. Risk may arise from two kind of reasons. These are external factors. External factors involves those factors that are beyond the control of an organization and may affect its financial position. For instance, threat from a new entrant in business and uncertainties such as natural disasters may occur. Next factor is internal factors. This includes the controllable factors of an enterprise. For instance, when the manufacturing plants of an organization are not operating at optimal efficiency, then the organization can correct it by revamping the operational structure of plants in which the manufacturing process is carried on.
Significance of financial planning is shown as under. Tries to gain a balance between the inflow and outflow of funds of the organization, behaves as an important and integral part of corporate planning for the business, guarantees sufficient funds from different sources for smooth running of business organization, attempts to minimization of wastage of resources used in the business, tries to maintain sufficient liquidity throughout the year. Ways of financing a new business can be done in the following two methods. Equity financing, it includes investors' ownership to that extent of size of investment and doesn't need collateral security, that is shares of the organization. Debt financing, it needs with an interest bearing investment that requires collateral security, that is loans and debentures, etc. The financial decisions are needed with regard to the following decisions: estimated amount of return on investment, the amount of long-term capital requirement for the business, the cost of raising funds from the outside agencies, determination of optimum capital structure for the organization. Therefore, financial decisions include making financial forecasts that need projection for 3 to 5 years. These projections will include the following: balance sheet. It explains the assets, liabilities, and retained earnings of the business. It also shows the value of the cash position and owner's equity at a given point of time. Cash flow statement. This deals with all cash receipts and expenses. The flow of cash is crucial for the survival of any business organization. Break-even analysis. It depicts the volume of revenue earned from sales that are required to balance the fixed and variable expenses of the business. It is no loss, no profit point situation. Key financial assumptions. This involves assumptions about expected cash flow in an enterprise, its market share, and rate of return on investment. For instance, an organization can assume that its product would be able to take over about 40% of the market and then can make plans and decisions about the investment and market strategies for the business. Income statement. It is a profit loss statement which depicts the cash management of the organization by subtracting expenses from income. Various financial forecasts are basically set up on yearly basis. The yearly plan are divided into quarterly or monthly plan or even semi-annually. The forecasts and projections creates an integral part of a financial portfolio. Thus, it is needed to make it sure that they are accurate, valid, and realistic.
Now we are coming on implementation of a business plan. When a business plan is being developed, the next important step is to implement it. An organization communicates the progress of efforts and activities carried as per the plan to its personnel. It is beneficial for the organization to achieve its key goals and missions. A business plan advises the businessman throughout the organizational process. When the plan is implemented, the businessman arranges the essential resources that are men, machine, and material to maintain, or you can say to attain the set goals. In the next phase, he or she allocates work to personnel to meet the objectives and ensure that the allotted hour work is performed efficiently and effectively. In the last stage, in the last stage, the businessman ensures that goals projected in the business plan are achieved effectively and efficiently.
Each and every business should have the ability and potential to identify the risks and have a ready-made solution to avoid the risk to become successful. The different kinds of risk bared by a businessman are as under: internal risk. It is the risk unique to the business and can be controlled, for instance, lack of money and managerial skills of business. Economy risk. It is the risk associated with the economy in which business operates, for instance, inflation and recession in the economy. Industry risk. It is the risk associated with the industry in which business operates. For instance, competition and change in government policies of the country. Various steps taken by organization to mitigation risk are as under: risk transfer. It means transferring the risk to other person or another party. This can be done by the purchase of an insurance contract, which helps in transferring the risk. For instance, marine insurance covers the loss of damage of ships, cargo, and any transport or property by which cargo is transferred to another. Risk avoidance. It means avoiding the activities involving risk. For instance, a businessman avoid the liability that he or she feels may affect negatively in future if he or she is unable to pay it back off. Risk retention. It means accepting the loss when it occurs. All type of risks that cannot be avoided or transferred are retained by default. It involves risks that are so large that they cannot be insured. For instance, emergence of a war can lead to loss of property which has to be retained by individual persons. In most of the cases, property is not insured against war and other types. Risk reduction. It means using different ways to reduce risk. It lessens the possibility of loss from occurring. For instance, organizations use fire extinguishers to reduce the risk of loss arising from fire. Each and every organization consists a certain amount of risk. Thus, a businessman should have the ability to identify the risks, evaluate the critical risk, and make realistic contingency plans which can be used in emergency.
In this module, you have learned the importance of developing a business idea before setting up an enterprise. An entrepreneur needs to take into consideration various factors such as size and location of the enterprise before setting up an enterprise. In addition, the module has detailed upon the significance of generating a business plan and the procedure of implementing it. Thank you.